Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and we have an interesting little lock in my vise. It's a Medico 72S, and I don't know if you're familiar with Medico locks. I'm not massively familiar, but I know a little bit. And one of the key features of Medico locks is you don't just have standard key bitting where you have to lift the pin to the right height. But if I turn that key, you'll see that you also have angled teeth on the key. The pins inside these Medicos are steel. They feel very different to the brass ones I'm used to picking. And this is a screwdriver tip, but I'll demonstrate. Not only are the key pins lifted to the right height, but they fall into an angle, so they turn from their random position in the lock, and they are chisel tipped, so they turn to meet the angle of the cuts in the teeth here. And the rotation of the pin is important. These Medicos have sidebars. Some of the more complicated ones have two, one on either side. I think they call them biaxials. And what you're doing is you're lifting the pin to the right height and also rotating the pin so that a hole in the key pin itself is exposed to, I guess, pins in the sidebar, which will fall into those holes. There are no driver pins in this lock, so there aren't any driver pins up in the Bible or anything. There isn't a Bible. It's just key pins that are lifted to a certain height. Like I said, more complicated Medicos have all sorts of security pins and driver pins and two lots of sidebars. This one doesn't. I'll demonstrate how I'll intend to pick it as well, and I'll go back to that screwdriver tip to demonstrate what I mean. So what you need to do is not only lift the pin to the right height, but you need to be able to rotate it in the lock by pulling or pushing on the pin to rotate it round. Now I found this Sparrow's Eurohook to be good at that. I can get under subtly. And another thing is that I find if I start at a low angle like this, I can still rotate that pin. If I want to lift it higher in the lock, I just angle it up slightly and still do the same. What that does is it tends to force the pin up as it rides the hook of my pick. So the aim is to go in. I'm going to go front to back, and I'm just going to be pulling and pushing shallow to begin with on the first pin, and then on the second pin, and then increase the depth of the hook by turning it as I go. So that's my technique. You can rake these locks if you're very careful, depending on the bitting, of course, and all the rest of it. But I've done it before, can't do it particularly reliably, so I hope to be able to demonstrate this. How am I going to pick it? Well, Mad Bob's 1.2 at the top of the keyway tension. There we go. You see the core turns a little bit, but it's stopped. When I take this apart, you'll see where the sidebar is about here. So what we're doing is we're putting tension on the sidebar, not the pins per se. Okay. So pin 1, the shallow angle, like I said. Pin 2. And we're just on pin 2 and just pulling back and forth on the pin. Pin 1. Okay, pin 1 feels set because it's not moving anymore. It's sort of seizes up on you. So I think pin 1 set. Let's try pin 2 again. Start angling that pick up a little bit more. Pin 3. 2, pin 1, trying to get a feel for pin 1. So I'll just push up on the pins and see what finds. So pin 1 seems to be stuck, so that's good, I think. Pin 2, also good. Pin 3, good. Back to pin 2. And we're open. There we go. So hopefully I can take this vise away and show you what went on inside there, and show you how the key operated as well. So you can see they've got that open. It is really odd to pick this. It doesn't feel anything like a normal lock, and you have to go on a little bit of intuition and a little bit of feeling those pins and see what they're doing. They do seize up on you and stop to feel sort of bouncy when they're picked. But let's turn this back, and hopefully you'll hear the pins drop down. And here we go. So this Medeco 72S. I've already taken the back off. Makes no difference to the picking. It's just held on by a couple of screws with this sort of cam at the back. So, but it does allow me to be able to pop that out without having to unscrew it on camera. And now you can see the lock. So what hopefully you can see in there is these, and I'll try and get the light in a bit closer, is these chisel teeth. There you go. And you can see how if I put my pick in at an angle, I can push and pull on those pins to change the angle of them. That's why I was going in subtly at a very flat angle first, like this. So down the warding, and you can just tickle the tips of the pins. If I turn my pick harder, you see that it does move the pins, but it also moves them up and down as well. So I find that's a good way to subtly control the how you rotate these pins. You can start really shallow like this and just tickle the tops of the pins, and then slowly angle it more and more. And what that'll do is it'll make the pins bounce up and down and turn with greater degrees of force. And then so again, you just go through. If I put some pressure on the sidebar as if it was in that lock, actually let me show you where the sidebar sits. So the sidebar, so that lock would basically be like this inside. Can you see that groove here? That's where the sidebar sits. When you put tension on the lock by turning it, say clockwise like I was doing, you're essentially squeezing this sidebar. The sidebar has sidebar has little pins or legs that go 1, 2, 3 into, when aligned, holes in each of these pins. I've tried to get this open, so you might be able to see some scratch marks, but I haven't been able to just remove this cap to show you the springs inside and the pins, but I think you can see enough to get an idea from here. So if I was picking, I'll put some pressure on that sidebar, and you see what I'm trying to do is just go in and subtly manipulate those pins like this, and I've picked the first one. You can see that sidebar is now rocking. So go back, I was on pin 2, just gentle raking back and forth on this one, and try and get the pin to turn. Oh. And then the last pin, I believe, we're just trying to make sure everything's picked, and you should see now that the sidebar has retracted in, just because we managed to, or maybe not 100%. So there we go. Now it's fully retracted. There we go. And that's basically what's happening. So those pins are now, what you see here, the angle which I have to pick them in the lock. So like I said, you're going in at a shallow angle, you're pulling back on those pins, and you're trying to align them. You can push back and forth and go into shallow or steeper angles to try and move those pins around. That's my technique. It seems to work quite well, so maybe you could try it on some of your Medicos and let me know how you get on. This is the only Medico that I own now, and it therefore won't be a lock which I have much experience of. Okay, so just show you how the key works. Put it in, and then you can see that I can then push that sidebar in. If I take it out, you can't. And when you go into the lock housing again, let's push that in, so line the sidebar with the gate. You can see that it won't turn until you push it all the way in, then it works fine. Okay, I hope you find that interesting. That's picking the Medeco 72S 3-pin lock. Really interesting lock, this one. I love you know, how well thought out the engineering of this is with those angled pins. It's just really is genius. Okay, I'll see you next time.